Hello world, I'm Chris Perillo, and this is your Geek Out for today. I've had my Nexus 7 for a few months now. I unboxed it on YouTube. You may have seen that video. You may have also seen the Nexus 7 in a variety of other videos I've done on YouTube, including comparing the Nexus 7 to other products in the same class, as well as the Nexus 7 to other products in the same Nexus family. However, one video you may not have seen from me is an official Nexus 7 review, because when I went looking for it today, I couldn't find it. So I am here to give you my official Nexus 7 review, and hopefully you appreciate it. I purchased this the first day it was available from Google for $250. This is the 16 gig version. Now, you should note that a few months later, Google announced a change in pricing. They now sell the same model, the Nexus 7 16 gig version, at $200. So I could have saved $50 by waiting a few months. I kind of do wish I would have waited, if only because my initial impressions of the Nexus 7 were okay. I was not blown away. I thought that it worked better than the other 7-inch Android tablet that I had tried in recent months, the first Kindle Fire. I wish I would have waited, because as soon as Google released Android 4.2, the Jelly Bean update, my experience with the Nexus 7 was dramatically improved. I noticed a difference. So if I would have waited, I could have spent $50 less to get the same product with the new software. In terms of weight, could be lighter, but it was never, something that was like, oh man, I have to put this down because of fatigue. It felt comfortable if I palmed it in portrait mode, or certainly held onto it in landscape mode. It was a bit easier to hold onto it in landscape with two hands. I don't want to accidentally move my thumb or finger past the bezel or swipe accidentally the software buttons that might appear on the screen. It's very pocketable. And front or back pocket, I don't have large pockets. I recommend keeping it in your front pocket, not your back pocket, because you may accidentally sit on it. You've got a nice soft back, which provided some amount of grip. You've got a headphone jack and a micro USB port on the bottom. You've got your power button, your volume rocker switch. You've got your speaker on the back, and then up front you have a camera. I think that's what most people might need from a tablet computer. I never felt like it was, constructed cheaply. I'm certainly, familiar with the way other products are designed, but the only thing that I would say I had an issue with was a sticker on the back, which I could remove, but apparently there's information on it, which I know I could transcribe somewhere else, but it was a little sloppy, I thought. But again, I was trying to keep in mind, I'm like, well, I could have purchased it for $200. So, sticker for $200. Okay, it's not horrible. In terms of the screen, and this is probably the number one feature for a tablet computer, is the screen. Color, I thought, was fairly represented, true to life. If anything, it was a bit dull, but not by much. I don't think the average user is going to notice there being too many issues. Not oversaturated, if anything, undersaturated. I think for viewing photos or viewing videos or web pages, it works just fine. Here I'm just browsing my Instagram feed. I could also pull up a YouTube video, which I will do in a second. The text clarity, in terms of being able to read something, I thought was also okay. Just pull up my Twitter app here and go to my tweets. The text was sharp, certainly did not seem blurry to me. Whether I'm reading, Twitter stream, Facebook feed, a web page, or anything like that. If I did not have screen brightness cranked up all the way, I would find the screen flickering, and it was noticeable, very noticeable. Other Nexus 7 owners had the same problem. To Google's credit, they offered to replace it with another unit. I just decided to crank up the brightness and be done with it. With these types of screens, if you're planning on doing a lot of reading, you probably want brightness turned up all the way anyway. If there was an issue with the screen, it would be specifically responsiveness. It got a little better with the Android 4.2 update. It's certainly not perfect, but it works well enough, and as long as you're able to read something, for some people, that's all that matters. I'm using Google Chrome here. I could also use the Dolphin browser, which I have recommended. I don't happen to have it installed right now because I had some issues with it. So here I am scrolling Google+. I happen to love Google+. I get good engagement there. Although you can see some of the performance issues apparent. When things are loading, it just seems to kind of chunk. But once things are loaded, it's relatively smooth. But I really don't think the average consumer is going to see that. Certainly not the consumer that is looking for a good $200 tablet. I'm going to just play back the video that I uploaded to YouTube yesterday, my iOS versus Android.
Yes, I'm going there. And go on before you comment. Better, as I've said before, is relative. And written this down.
Video looks good. Voice sounds okay, but sound that is a bit more complex, like in a game or in a movie or certainly music, I don't recommend using the speaker. It's not that great. I recommend using the headphone jack, plugging in your favorite headphones to the device and listening that way. Now, Google suggests that this is a good gaming tablet, and I would say it's an okay gaming device. Good gaming device is relative depending on what you're moving from. The graphics look good. The screen clarity and sharpness is really, really good. I can't say that the frame rates on anything that I've played have been amazing. Games do generally look nice on the Nexus 7. The camera is just fine for video chatting or Hangouts on Google+, Skyping. Most users are going to be using this camera specifically for video conferencing. And for video conferencing, it's more than enough. I'd be shocked to find out if you had a better camera built into your laptop or a traditional desktop computer that worked better than the Nexus 7 camera. Yes, there are a lot of apps that you can download for Android in the Google Play Store. Some of those applications seem to take advantage of this display better than others. They just seem to be like smaller apps that are blown up for a larger screen. And that just does not create a very good experience. I think app developers could do a fantastically better job at optimizing for the screen size. And an example of a well-designed app for the Nexus 7 would be Evernote. So you can see here, I mean, this is definitely taking advantage of the larger screen in either portrait or landscape mode. This is a good example of a tablet optimized app. And app developers, I think, are getting the message, just taking them a little longer than I would have liked it to take. For battery life, I got on average about 8 hours. Granted, I did have screen brightness usually turned up all the way. I could leave it sitting on my desk for a day or two and still get back to it without using it, and there would still be some battery life left. The reason why I purchased with my own money the Nexus 7 was because I was expecting a flagship Android experience from Google, because this is a Google product even though Asus makes it. And I think the hardware and the software, specifically the OS, are about in line with one another as could be expected with an Android product. I also have great hope that Google will continue to push Android updates to the Nexus 7, specifically this one in particular. I love using my Nexus 7. When I have it connected, Daydream pops up, and so I'm able to get this ongoing scrolling of the latest news stories, and I love Daydream. The Nexus 7, if you're looking for a perfect app for the Nexus 7, it's Daydream. I know, I'm crazy, but I like it. Considering that a lot of people have been buying Nexus 7s, there are a lot of accessories that are available. Things I like, it's pocketable, it is a great media viewer. The number one thing I liked about this device, after Android 4.2 was released, the price. This is, for how much you spend on the Nexus 7, a good buy. It is recommended for a $200 tablet. Right now, the experience is about as good as could be expected. For $200, this is a good tablet. I don't think this is the best Nexus product you could necessarily buy if you have money to spend. If you're looking for a 7-inch screen and you have $200 and that's your budget, yes. Things I didn't like were its performance. There's still a great degree of stutter, which many people may not be able to see. I certainly do, but it's because I use a variety of devices. But for $200, I don't know if I could expect much more today. The applications are largely phone screen optimized at this point, or a bulk of the apps that are available. That's getting better. The other thing that I really don't like, software buttons. I would find myself frequently swiping the back button or home button when I didn't mean to, or the task switching button, and that was really jarring to me. I didn't like that feature. Some people are different. Some people don't mind any of these things, but for me, those are just some things that I found that just kind of jumped out as like, I don't like it. So the bottom line is, if you are looking to buy a tablet and you're not interested in anything else that might be out there, I think that the Nexus 7 should not disappoint you at all today. And I expect that it's going to get better over time. Hello world, I'm Chris Pirillo, and this is your Geek Out for today.